Welcome to Ear Biscuits, the podcast where two lifelong friends talk about life for a long time. I'm Link.
And I'm Rhett. This week at the round table of dim lighting, we're gonna be talking about a birthday surprise that I gave my wife. And I am not talking.
You know what, I would say you gave it to me too.
I gave it to Link. Now,
and we wanna give it to you well.
I'm not talking about, the big surprise I'm talking about is not the thing that came out on the Rhett and Link channel, the vlog, where I became Jason Momoa. And Link also helped with that.
I wouldn't characterize
I became
that
Jason
as you
Momoa.
I would say you made a
Valiant attempt?
A cringe adjacent.
Oh,
adjacent.
Adjacent?
That's not a word. A cringe adjacent coffee table book where you tried your best to.
It is on the coffee table. Thanks for noticing.
Oh, no, it's not, is it?
I don't know where it is actually.
You don't even know where it is?
First of all, let me just tell you because if
can I say? First of all, can I tell you?
Yeah, tell me whatever you want
to. That's not, like you said, that's not what we're talking about today.
I wanted to clarify what we were talking about.
Oh, yeah, do that.
No, I wanted to clarify what we're talking about when we say Jason Momoa because people may not understand what we're talking about. But we'll come back to that in a second because we are gonna talk a little bit about that. But the main thing we're gonna talk about, go ahead.
Is this gift that you gave her that has nothing to do with that I had very little, I made an appearance.
You did.
But like I said.
You made a cameo.
This gift, it's not that it wasn't the most specific gift for Jessie that you could give her, but it's just so, it's so enjoyable for everybody. It was so enjoyable for me. It was such an experience. I'm talking like over an hour. Like it was like the best movie that you've ever seen.
Wow.
It was kind of like, that was the experience I had in experiencing
I think you might
gift. I've never enjoyed a gift given to somebody else more than how much I enjoyed that gift that you gave.
What about
Jessie.
my 40th birthday party? My 40th birthday party.
This is better.
No
okay.
way.
No
way.
Okay, it wasn't that good, but it was pretty great.
Well, and one of the reasons
I'm talking about a specific gift, not a party.
A singular gift.
A singular gift.
Well, but my gifts to Jessie were done considering the fact that she could not have an actual 40th birthday party. Now, Jessie went out of her way to plan my 40th birthday party. Like all the details and for why my party was great are because of Jessie. And she loves parties, she loves people, she loves planning stuff like that. And for years.
Great party.
Because I'm older than she is. I'm 3 years older than she is. So for the past 3 years, we've been talking about how her birthday party, her 40th birthday party's gotta be even better than my 40th birthday party. But of course, it's not my fault she decided to turn 40 in 2020. Because she turned 40 right at the end of 2020.
COVID really crapped that up.
And there was all this like conjecture about whether or not, we remember at the beginning of the pandemic when we didn't know what it was gonna be like at the end of the year? Well, it turns out in LA it was as bad as it could possibly get at the end of the year, right? So
the worst that it's been.
The worst that it's been. It's continuing to get worse as we're recording this. However, what that meant is that she couldn't have the party that she wanted. And we talked about, well, next year we'll do but the whole like, delayed gratification party, which will be one hell of a thing that happens for people. Like there's gonna be lots of people who had weddings, birthday parties, and things that they postponed.
Yeah.
The party business, if you wanna invest in the party business in late 2021, that's what you should be investing in. But
let's buy a party city.
Okay.
I've always, every time I go in a party city, I'm like, boy, I love being in here.
If Party City can make it,
I think
facetious, Party City would be a great investment. But anyway, that's what motivated me to do both the Jason Momoa thing and the thing we'll talk about. Now, and a couple other things. But just so if you don't know what we're talking about, if you're listening to this on
Monday,
the day that it comes out.
2 days ago.
2 days ago we did a vlog on the Rhett and Link channel, Link. Vlogs.
That's right. But we want to say that this is not a harbinger of a lot more vlogs. It's just you wanted to do this thing for Jessie. It was an irresistible idea to document for a vlog.
Yeah.
So we're like, that's what we're gonna do. If there's something that we want to turn into a vlog, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, so we're not making a commitment to say vlogs are back. What we're just saying is
we're demonstrating that
vlogs are a thing.
They can pop up.
As we are inspired and as we have something to film, the vlog channel is not dead. That's all we'll say, but it is not going to be a weekly thing. But we hope that you enjoyed what we gave you.
It's a little
and what I gave my wife.
Unscheduled treat zone. And
I will say, I want to put this idea out there. I know we talked a little bit about it during the making of the Jason Momoa vlog. Just you can go watch it after this. You could pause it and go watch it right now. But anyway, my wife is really into Jason Momoa, and it's kind of like a running joke. And also, as my hair has grown out, I wouldn't say that I look like Jason Momoa, but I look more like Jason Momoa than I did before I grew my hair out, just because he also has long hair and a beard. So there's been this running joke that I'm trying to be Jason Momoa to my wife. And so we decided to go all the way and make this picture book where I recreated these epic Jason Momoa shots, which didn't necessarily turn out epic. And I kind of regret putting myself side by side with him in the book, but that is where the most comedy comes from.
Yeah, that's now. But what's her relationship with this book? You said you don't even know where it is anymore.
Well, she has actually. It has a couple of pages have fallen out because of drool.
Oh gosh.
First of all, that's a self-deprecating joke. Just so you know, I'm not.
I'd never assumed that.
I'm not. She's drooling over. I mean, I'm assuming she's drooling over Momoa.
Yeah, but she has books that are just him that she drools over.
No, she doesn't. Actually, she doesn't. But I think now
I know, listen, I know she has a coloring book.
Yeah, because it was a gift from your wife, right?
Yeah, and the thing that Christy was asserting that she inspired.
She did.
This whole idea.
Because when she
said.
But
I don't know if this is your opportunity to.
She did.
To give her some credit.
Christy showed me the coloring book of Jason Momoa, which was a lot like the coloring book that like the Mythical coloring book, like an adult coloring book, but it was, not us, it was Jason Momoa. And she was like, you should make a coloring book of yourself as Jason Momoa. And I was like, that's a really good idea. That's a very difficult thing to do, but you know what I probably could do is I could recreate some of his actual photos. So yeah, the idea came from Christy's suggestion to do a coloring book.
But she bought Jessie the coloring book, so she does own the Jason Momoa coloring book.
Yeah, yeah, she does. But it's
But where is the book you made? You really don't know? I mean, what?
It's on her bedside table.
What? Seriously, what is the lasting response to it? Because like you see her in the video, you just get her initial reaction from the vlog. She's really getting a kick out of it. It is very funny. How you like put the lines in between it. Like she loved it.
The fact that we made it into a video, like what she said was, oh, I see. Oh, you say this is a gift from me?
Oh.
You just wanted to make a video.
Oh.
Now, then she'll follow it up and say, oh, I'm kidding. It's great. I like it. I love it. I'm so glad you did it. But I mean, first of all, there's an interesting sort of, now we don't have it nearly as bad as like a family vlogger. Can you imagine that? Because then at every point, everything that you're doing, there's these split allegiances between the person you're doing it for and the audience. I couldn't imagine living like that, first of all.
Yeah.
Because having just done it, the few times that we've done it, and in this case, very directly, I got really excited about the idea and I knew I could get you excited about the idea. Not to say that you're a great friend, but there is no way in hell you would have done that without it being a video for the Rhett and Link channel.
That's an interesting question.
I mean, it's just, because you would have been like, I mean, man, really? We gotta do this? Do you need me to do this? I'm saying that as someone who probably would do the same thing to you. I'd be like, I would try to talk you into something else, right? But the fact that we knew it could be a video, it was like, you're like, all right, I'll do it and I'll kind of adopt a little bit of a perspective in the video that I'm really not into this. Which I really think worked.
Because I didn't know what else to, I didn't know how else to play it.
I think you played it right. But for me, the bigger question is, So to answer your question, she was very appreciative. She was more appreciative of the thing that we're gonna talk about after the break. I will say that. Because,
as she should be.
Because it actually took more work and it was just for her. Now we are talking about it on Ear Biscuit, but we're not gonna, you can't experience it for reasons that we'll get into. But the question I wanna answer before we move on, or ask, is, as we established, this is an S.A.T. question. Jason Momoa is to Jessie as blank is to Christy. And the answer is Keith Urban.
I don't know.
No, hey, listen, you can't walk this back now, man. Because she said this many times, man.
It's been a running joke for years.
But it started in reality.
I think it started when you might say that you have a crush on Keith Urban and people might just be like, oh, I get it. Which would have been like over a decade ago. Yeah. So it's a running joke that has continued to run from that amount of time. I really don't think that she's like pulling up images of Keith Urban just to like get fancies.
Young Keith Urban, whatever you want to say. At some point, she's still into it, I would assume. She hasn't changed like, her biological responses to Keith Urban, to just raw Keith Urban. So my question is that, I think that you look as much like Keith Urban as I look like Jason Momoa. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, we could easily get your hair to look like his hair. He's clean shaven. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, he has. I think he still has like highlights.
We can do that.
By the way, I still think he's stuck in the phase from over a decade ago where people would get it. I don't think he hasn't tried to change.
The question is, and I'm telling you right now,
I don't get it, by the way, and I don't get Nicole Kidman. I don't get them as a couple. I don't get either.
You don't get who? What do you mean you don't get it? You don't get what people see in Keith Urban?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess I don't personally see it, but I think I can understand. I mean, I think I can look at him and tell that, like, okay, I could see that people would find him attractive.
You want me to do a book?
That's the question, is I'm willing to play the role that you played for me.
She's already turned 40.
And, well, I mean, whatever she turns next, can we do Link Becomes Keith Urban? And listen, because it's the second video, we'll have to do something even bigger.
How do you know I haven't already done that in private? Like, how do you know I haven't done it the right way?
Well, listen, I also know that your dad got a Keith Urban electric guitar for himself.
This is years ago, I went to my dad's house this was for Christmas years ago, and he had a guitar. My dad, I've never seen or heard of my dad playing an instrument, and I was like, you got a guitar? He was like, yeah, they were selling this Keith Urban Learn to Play Guitar online. It was like a cheap Keith Urban guitar.
Yeah, it's just like
complete with the lessons.
The cheap fill in the blank celebrity guitar, right?
I'm pretty confident that he's never played it. So, I don't know, between me and my dad, we could, we both got some Keith Urban connections. We both
When is Chrissy's birthday's in the spring, right?
It's in May.
Well, we gotta start working on this. We gotta start thinking
May
about
May 13th.
Gotta start thinking
I do know
about
the
this.
date.
So anyway, what I'm saying, it's up to you if you want to do it, but if you want to do it, if you want to pull the Keith Urban trigger, if you want to pull the Urban trigger, just know that I am there to hold the barrel. I mean, that's probably not the best analogy. No. Yeah, I will support you and take pictures of you.
All right, so I can't wait to get into this thing, but I have to get you to share the pizza ordering story that you told me over the break. It's the one thing from the break that I feel like we need to fill in the gap, and I need you to tell me that story as well.
Before the break?
After the break.
Oh, teaser. Okay, you know what we've done? Not anytime recently, but like years ago, we've set aside a whole section of Amazon.com.
I didn't know what you were gonna say.
And we call it Amazon.com/mythical. And it's a place that you can go if you're just like, I gotta have that Prime shipping. I don't wanna I don't wanna wait. I want things as soon as I possibly can get them. Well, the way to do that is Amazon.com/mythical. Now it's a different selection. It's not the same stuff that you get at mythical.com.
That's right.
It's different. It's a whole different collection.
Equally mythical, succinctly separate.
Yeah, so
Amazon.com/mythical.
Rep your boys over there.
Compare it to what you would find at mythical.com.
Okay.
So I want to get to the gift, but like when we were on our break and we were separate from each other, we did have this conversation. It was like, you just couldn't wait to tell me this story. But just because you told me, first of all, I want to hear it again, and I want them to hear it.
Yeah.
Because it's beside the gift that we're about to get into.
It's the best story from the break. This is the
other bright spot from the break. Because the break, just to be official about this, the break was really laying low.
Yeah.
With the COVID of it all in LA and not going out of, not going back home.
And listen, I know
just laying low.
I know that you do not come to Ear Biscuits or Good Mythical Morning or anything else to hear more talk about the pandemic. I get it. We're all tired of hearing about it. But I do want to talk I think to give you some context about what's happening in Los Angeles as we record this, right? The situation is so dire in Los Angeles right now that if you have to go to the hospital for any particular reason, COVID included, the chances of you actually not getting treated, not getting into a hospital bed are pretty high, right? People are circling, ambulances are circling, to use the proper term, circling the hospitals, and people are dying of different conditions, COVID included, while they're waiting to get into a hospital. And so there's this incredible sense that I told my kids, I was like, guys, don't do anything stupid. I mean, first of all, we're already doing all the COVID protocols and not going out.
If you break a leg.
But if you break a leg, I'm gonna put you in a splint. I got a broom and some duct tape. Because they said do not go to the emergency room unless it's a life or death situation. And I know the situation is dire in other places, but Los Angeles has become the epicenter of the pandemic at this point for a number of factors that we won't go into. But ultimately, it's a really, really scary time locally. And anybody who has said it's just the flu, or you know what, it's not really that serious, it's just a cold. Colds and flus do not overwhelm the hospital system in the way that COVID has. Even if there's a very high chance that you're gonna survive this thing, the net effect on a population of people experiencing COVID is that it overwhelms the medical staff and the facilities in the way that it is right now. And so that's why in Los Angeles, in order to not contribute further to the problem, we're doing everything we can to remain safe.
And to laugh and instead of crying. Keep from crying.
Yeah.
And that's what this story means to me.
So again, we're not earlier, even just 2 months ago, I might take a trip into the grocery store to pick something up, or if I needed to go quickly buy something at the hardware store, I would mask up and go in, right? But in Los Angeles, there's been all these outbreaks at retail and grocery stores.
We've clamped back down, so
30 people at so-and-so, at the Ralphs are suddenly infected or whatever. So we're doing all delivery, we're not going out. However, there was a time over the break where we ordered pizza. We were trying to order pizza from this place, and we couldn't get them on the phone. And so I was like, all right, you know what? I need to get out. I'm just gonna drive down there and I'm gonna order the pizza in person or whatever. And I go to this place and I look and I see that they've got a socially distanced line for people to order pizza, but it's inside. And so there's probably I don't know, maybe a total of 10 people inside this place, including the staff behind the counter and then the people in line. And I was we've been super locked down, so I'm not comfortable doing this, but you know what? I got my mask on, everybody else has got their mask on. It's a limited amount of time, I'm gonna go in. But I was feeling uncomfortable, I was taking a risk, right? So I go inside this place and I get in line, and I'm in there for 5 minutes or so and move a couple of spaces, and then I see there's a couple of girls who have just ordered their pizza and are walking out, and they see me and they recognize me and they say, oh, hey, we were actually just watching you yesterday or whatever. I was like, oh, great to meet you, whatever. Now, oftentimes when this happens in public, if you get recognized in public, people who do not know who you are feel that it is their absolute moral obligation to then ask you who you are, right? It is one of my pet peeves. It is one of my least favorite things in the world, but hey, listen, if it means that things are going well for us, and
if that's what you're complaining about, then your life's pretty good.
It's a privileged problem, but it's just a pet peeve, that's all I'm saying. So, 2 girls and a guy, approximately 20 years old, one of them behind me says, "Excuse me, sir, who are you?" I'm like, here we go. And I'm sorry, I'm usually pretty nice, almost always pretty nice. But
you're on edge.
When this question is asked, and I'm also thinking about the fact that I'm not comfortable being in here, I said, I smiled, but you couldn't tell because I've got my mask on. If you don't know, you won't care. Because is that not true?
It's true.
Well, is me saying, well, I have a YouTube channel that's pretty popular and that's where those girls knew me from. How is that gonna change this person's life? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like.
It's just,
I know, she's just curious.
But it's also an opportunity for somebody to say they met somebody famous, even if they didn't know who it was.
I get it. However, the only thing that I can think of as I'm saying, if you don't know, you won't care, is that the young man who was with these 2 girls.
Still in his 20s?
Yeah.
Not a boy, a man.
Does not have on a mask.
Does not have on a mask.
Now, you can call me what you will. You know what I'm saying? I know there's people who listen to this podcast who think that masks don't matter and that COVID's not a big deal. This story is just gonna piss you off. I'm cool with that. But what I said was, hey bro, where's your mask?
Ooh, you did it. You went there, didn't you?
And
was it calculated or was it kind of a knee-jerk reaction?
I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just like, this guy doesn't have a mask on, and this is the only thing I'm thinking about is the fact that I'm not comfortable being in here because, COVID basically is exposure level versus times time. That's how you calculate your risk level. And exposure level goes up when someone doesn't have a mask on, if they have it, right? So he's like, and this catches him off guard, and then the girl with him is like, well, it's in the car. You really should go get your mask. And I was like, you really should. And I said, you should either put on a mask or you should leave. And he was like, he was like, whoa, this guy's really telling me, this guy's really laying it down. And I was like, yeah, this is serious, man. It's like, this is a serious thing. It's like, it's not hard to put on a mask. And then that was when he was like.
His girlfriend had on a mask.
He was like, you're from YouTube. And then, look, I actually just messed the story up a little bit because after I said, you should put on a mask, or after I said, where's your mask? They said, it's in the car. And then he recognized me and said, oh, you're for YouTube. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, you should put on a mask or you should leave. And that was when he got really uncomfortable. And I just turned back around.
You gave him the back?
I turned back around to keep going in line and also to turn away from him. And that was when he said, unsubscribe.
I still can't believe he said that.
He unsubscribed in public.
I mean,
out loud.
I gotta give him respect because, I mean, you criticize people for saying things in comments that they would never say out loud, but I never thought that which you see frequently in comments would be something that anyone would ever say out loud.
No, I actually appreciate it.
Unsubscribe.
Like I said,
did he just unsubscribed verbally?
He said,
like, do you have to do the work then?
I don't know.
To find his account?
I don't know if he then brings up his account and unsubscribes. However, I did, like I said, I wasn't mad. I'm not gonna turn into, I'm not gonna, I mean, there was a part of me that was like, if this guy really wants to like roll with me about this, what am I gonna do? Because by this point, everyone in the restaurant was listening to our conversation because no one's talking, everybody's kind of quiet.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I said, bro, where's your mask? It was like a pin drop kind of moment and people were like, oh, this dude's calling this guy out in front of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And he was not a small guy. And it's not like I'm a fighter. You know what I'm saying? I'm a big guy, but it's not, the last time I fought somebody was, John Carson in 3rd grade.
Big or small, one subscriber is just one subscriber.
However, he then leaves.
Oh, he did?
He left and he came back with a mask on. And he was like, I got the mask on. And I was like, hey, and I said, I was like, hey, I really appreciate that. Thanks for doing that. And then that's when he says,
resubscribe?
No. He said, Mythical Kitchen.
What? Like he made the connection, or?
It was like, he was racking it wasn't like he's a fan. It was like, I've seen you on YouTube. But then his point of reference was, after he went back, put the mask on, thought about it, Mythical Kitchen. And I was just like, yep. You know, I'm not gonna be like, well, you know, good mythical morning, what, you know. So, because it's technically true. I have appeared on Mythical Kitchen. So anyway.
Wow, unsubscribe.
So I really appreciate, you know, listen, he has every right to unsubscribe if he doesn't like, and you have every right to unsubscribe to this if you don't like my opinion about this stuff. But if I find you in a public place without a mask, I'm going to talk to you about it. That's just what I'm gonna do, especially in Los Angeles. You know, this is serious, man.
I mean, I wonder how many YouTube professionals, as we are, have experienced being unsubscribed to verbally. I mean, it can't be that many. That's great.
You think it might be the first time ever?
No,
it's happened.
I'm sure it's happened.
It's happened. Yeah.
But just to like, just to say that publicly, he didn't even at that point. He didn't even know what channel, as he proved later.
Yeah, right.
You know,
if he unsubscribes from Mythical Kitchen because of this, I'm sorry, Josh. What can I tell you?
Unsubscribe. I mean, it's succinct. I like it. It's succinct. It goes to the core of
your. It was very quick thinking on his part.
Your well-being, you know.
It was very, very
your livelihood. Yeah. All right, but let's get into this this gift, man. Okay, set up what you did.
Okay, so again, Jessie couldn't have a party. So I was thinking, how do I get all the people who love her and would otherwise maybe come to a party to show their appreciation for her? Now, the general idea isn't particularly creative. A lot of people have done this. You make a compilation video featuring family and friends saying something that they appreciate about Jessie. And so I was like, I definitely am gonna do that. But I was like, I don't wanna just do the same thing that everyone else does, which is just get people just to make a compilation video. It's sweet, it's nice, maybe she'll cry, maybe she'll laugh. But how do I take this to the next level? Now, I'm sure you've heard about the service Cameo, which is essentially a service where you pay to have a celebrity make a custom video for you. And it varies in price. Some people might be $25. I think Snoop Dogg is like $900. But you can basically, if you want to get Snoop Dogg to wish your cousin a happy birthday or a happy graduation or give them an encouraging word or whatever, you can pay. And
it's an app, right? Is it?
It's a website. I think there's also an app.
So they're all listed on there.
And you can search basically by different categories of celebrity. I mean, there's a few YouTubers on there. But it tends to be mostly what I would say, we're not talking A-listers here, right? You know, you cannot get Brad Pitt to deliver a cameo because Brad Pitt's time is probably more valuable spent doing whatever else Brad Pitt does rather than making videos for people.
It's interesting, Snoop Dogg is the only exception. Like he's like, I wouldn't call him an A-list celebrity, but I wouldn't call him anything lower either. He's like he's in his own parallel strata of celebrity that it actually, you know, he'll show up anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah.
But somehow it legitimizes that thing. It doesn't delegitimize him.
And who knows, I don't know how Cameo works, but I mean, yes, Snoop gets paid each time he does it, but he probably also got a pretty sweet deal just to go onto the service.
Yeah, maybe so, yeah.
You know, I'm assuming that they pay, you know, people would really demand in order to get, I don't know how it works. I don't know the inner workings of it. All I know is that I was like, a lot of the people on Cameo are people who are known for things like, there's a whole reality TV section, right? So you got people who have been on all these reality TV shows who, you know, they're trying to cash in on their fame a little bit. And how easy is it to just sit down and say, I'm gonna record 10 happy birthday videos for people over the course of an hour and make a few $100 or whatever it comes out to, right?
And I gotta think the COVID of it all, with people being more on lockdown with their hands tied, they're not actively working as much. you monetize that time, the equation changes a little bit. You might get people who normally wouldn't be on there.
And even though you know how it works, being that like, okay, these people make themselves available and they then get paid to do a handful of these, however many, depends on how in demand they are. I know that they just sat down and read some facts off of a screen and did a video, and then they did another video and then another video. But despite knowing that's how it works, it still comes across as especially meaningful for the person who receives the video, especially if you don't know about Cameo.
Well, I'd like to explore that in the context of some specifics, because I do have some observations about the experience of that, but you have to set up how it happened.
So I had two general ideas, right? I was like, I'm gonna make this video that's got all her family and friends in it. And then, without telling her, I'm going to pepper in people that are
reality TV stars,
meaningful to me and her, or just I thought it would be funny to have them involved, right? And so we'll talk about who those people are and where they're from. But the thing that I also did is because there's a section where you can write some personal information about the person who's getting the cameo. And I was like, how can I make this even more fun than it's already gonna be? Well, I'm gonna make up a bunch of stuff about Jessie that's not true. Like, for instance, I'm going to say that she's turning 40 and she also has 40 tattoos. I'm going to say that she is an avid juggler. She's an avid fisherwoman. She is a mountain climber who has climbed the following mountains and whose dream is to climb Everest. She grew up working on a pig farm. And also, every birthday, she bakes herself a 12-layer cake. Now, Jessie hates baking. She likes cooking somewhat, hates baking, because she doesn't really like being told what to do or follow directions. So baking is not for those kinds of people. And so it was like the irony of saying that she makes a 12-layer cake. It was kind of a little joke between us. So I put this information out there and then reached out to all the people who were significant to us, and a fair number of them, if not all of them, responded.
The first person I remember.
Well, you want to get the context for why you were there when I showed it?
Yes, I forgot that. So to celebrate Jessie's birthday, we went away. We got an Airbnb like outside of Joshua Tree, just the four of us. You know, having already been a pod, when you take the whole COVID stuff into consideration, given how much we have to work together, it's like right on the heels of us working together anyway. It was a safe decision for the four of us to be together. And so we're hanging out that night, and she didn't know it. Like Christy gave her birthday present, and after that you break out the laptop and you're like, I have a birthday present for you as well. And of course, Christy and I knew what it was because we contributed to it as loved ones. And Jessie kind of knows at this point, oh, he's made a video.
Right.
And Christy's like, well, Rhett, should we be here for this? Isn't this something that's just for Jessie? Because, I mean, people say like really meaningful things that could be private for her. I don't know. They didn't necessarily think that like we were gonna be watching this. And you were like, no, I put this thing together. And of course I knew about the cameo part because you told me. I don't think Christy knew. You were like, no. It's like, this is perfect to be watched with you guys. So, you know, it was, in retrospect, I'm so grateful that like you created this thing. And like I said, I loved it. It invited me and Christy into the experience of watching Jessie watch it for the first time.
As I was editing it, I knew all along that you were gonna be there, that you and Christy were gonna be there. So when Christy said that, like, are you sure you want us to be here? I was like, well, first of all, where are you gonna go? You know, we're in this Airbnb in the middle of the desert. But anyway, so the video starts off and, you know, I say I've got a little intro and then some of her friends, and actually the last person right before the first celebrity is your wife. Now we're not gonna play any of these videos because
I wish we could.
The funny thing is that
I'm frustrated.
I'm assuming that those people who made videos for Jessie who also listen to Ear Biscuits have probably been thinking up to this point that, is he gonna play that video on Ear Biscuits that I made privately for Jessie? No, I'm not gonna do that. I would never do that. The only person who has seen that is, of course, Jessie and then Lincoln Christie. But you cannot show a Cameo video. Now, if you get a Cameo, I sound like I'm making an ad for Cameo, but if I got her to make a video, if I got somebody to make a video for Jessie on Cameo, I could put it on my personal social media. She could put it on her personal social media. But because this podcast is a commercial product, technically, you know, we
make money off this podcast.
It's against the terms of service. I can't tell you what or play these videos for you. But I don't think that's gonna ruin the experience for you because we're gonna talk about some of the things that people said and just kind of explore the concept.
Frustrating that most people, when they get a Cameo, you know that it's gonna be shared on social media amongst the circle of friends.
Yeah.
And you can tell by the way that certain people contributed, they would add certain context or promotional statements around it because they know more people besides this one person I'm talking to are gonna see this. So I might as well take advantage to like promote my project or whatever.
Yeah, that happened a couple of times. But as you'll see on this first one, which the first person to appear in the video is Chris Harrison, host of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, just, you know, the Bachelor Enterprise. The face of that whole thing. As you can see, I zoomed in past the watermark that says Cameo on the bottom so that the first one that she saw, she would just think that I had personally reached out to Chris Harrison. That's the beauty of this, especially if you can kind of zoom past Cameo, you make people think that you've just arranged this because Chris Harrison basically says, "Hi, Jessie, your wonderful husband, Rhett, wanted me to wish you a happy 40th birthday."
He's a consummate professional.
No, Chris Harrison
is the best.
He's the best. I mean, you know, I think the only person who might do as good of a job at this is Probst. I think that Jeff Probst, who's not on there.
Oh, he got to be on mine.
These guys just specialize in being able to sit down and just say something that feels meaningful. But the thing that Chris Harrison has is he has a rose and he gives the rose. This rose is, will you accept this rose or whatever?
I bet he didn't give that rose to anyone right before that video or in the next video he made right after.
He's also the most expensive person on the list. I don't want to disclose the prices, but
well, you said Snoop was $900.
Well, he's not as expensive as Snoop. He's the most expensive person that I personally contacted.
Okay.
So Chris Harrison was the first one. And at this point, because Chris Harrison.
First of all, anyone can go on Cameo. They can see how much it costs.
Well, I don't know I think he's $500. I just can't remember exactly everything.
Well, I'll tell you, it was worth it. He was a consummate professional. He made eye contact with the camera lens. He seemed like he was peering into Jessie's soul. Hell, my soul.
Yeah.
When I was watching it.
He also connected to her given her juggling and her fishing, which he said he enjoyed both of those things. And said we should all get together and juggle and fish.
And he had he gave her the rose, it was a great bit. Other people have other bits that they'll go into.
Okay, so the next person who showed up was James, the jet ski guy from Tiger King.
And is he sitting in a golf cart holding a phone, just kind of talking to her? It's very, he's out in the open. He's got his
outside
aviators
in
on. He just, it's like Cameo sent him an email. Somebody wants to pay you to talk to him. He's like, oh, let me get on it right now in my golf cart.
I think he might be relatively, so some of the people on the site have put their past work and you can see what they say and how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's pretty in demand. But he's
hilarious.
The reason I wanted, first of all, because we watched Tiger King and loved it. The thing that I love about him is at the end of his cameo, and my impression based on the other.
He was impressed with her tattoos.
Of course, he latched onto the tattoo thing.
And with the aviators on, you really can't tell that he's reading some notes but you can tell it's like he's reacting to the notes. He's like, oh damn, 40 tattoos.
Yeah.
Man. And what did he say? He was like, I got to give you credit for that. But it was like it was like someone was whispering in his ear.
He invited her down to Florida to ride jet skis with him. He did that, and then the last thing he did, he said, "You know that bitch Carol Baskin? I think she definitely killed her husband."
That's his closing.
That's his like closing. He also says, check out season 2 of Tiger King coming soon, which I didn't even know was a thing, but again, promotion.
You found out.
Yeah.
And now we're telling everybody
Yeah.
that there's a season 2.
But of course, I followed up James, right after he said that bitch Carol Baskin killed her husband, I followed up with Carol Baskin.
Yes!
And she says, hello all you cats and kittens or whatever she says, and then proceeds to
Because some people are so entrenched in their
Jessie.
catchphrases, they really can't get out of the fact that they're talking to one person right now.
Right.
So it's, she's a vlogger in her own right,
Well,
of sorts. So she has her vlogging catchphrases like that. And, but the thing I remember about Carol is that it got very candid. Like she actually,
very personal.
she would take some of the notes, like she really enjoyed the factoid about the 12-layer cake. Oh, you make I understand that every birthday you make a 12 layers, that's a lot. I would really love for you to make me, send me one of those. It's like, I would love to sink my teeth into that. And then she's like, but actually, you know what? Don't send me a cake because I can't eat anything people send me because there's people who say they're trying to kill me. And she's, you can kind of tell.
This is all top of mind.
She's like looking off a little bit. It's top of mind. She's like verbally processing her own situation. It's very self-deprecating. It's very endearing and connecting, but it's like she really gave of herself to Jessie. She had, she was like, you know what? I would love to get cake from you, but I can't because people are trying to kill me.
Right. Yeah.
And so there's these, I never expected it. And it happened to a number of people where it's like, they were able to tap into a sincerity in, I'm doing this video, I might as well be a real person. And then there are more than glimpses of people actually being themselves conversationally.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's not an easy thing to do because as you look through all of us who aren't celebrities on Cameo who made these videos for Jessie, just the act of doing it, there's a risk and you gotta check a lot of your insecurity when you're not someone who's used to staring into a camera and making a video.
Well, even when you are someone who's used to staring into a camera.
Okay.
Because
I see you pulled me up
right
here.
after Carol,
I'm hedging.
Right after Carol Baskin, Link Neal. And you know what? I didn't even have to pay Link Neal.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Link Neal is not on Cameo.
I should have created a Cameo. I could have got a little
Do you want me to play this for us? Because this is the one that you have the permission to release.
No.
Okay, all right, I will respect your privacy.
No, I don't care, play it.
Okay.
Jessie, happy birthday. I want to wish you all the good cheer and tidings. Okay, I'm gonna get serious this time. I really want you to have a happy birthday. Listen, this quarantine thing, it sucks. I don't, you know what? I don't want to talk about anything negative. I want this all to be positive. No, it's all right. Seriously, Jessie, I just want to wish you a happy birthday and let you know that I value our friendship. And it's an interesting friendship to be friends because you're married to my best friend. It's almost like we're brother and sister-in-law or something. So love you like a sister. Happy birthday. Well, listen.
Hey, that was sweet. That was good.
It was. I really wanted to say something honest, but then it's like, man, why is this so awkward? Even
the thing I made at the beginning, which was
puts people in
which was basically just like, hey, baby,
thing.
whatever,
Like I can talk to all of y'all, but when you're talking to one person, and it's like, and then I know that you're gonna watch it. And it's like, it was just a weird confluence. And you know what? It caught me at an interesting time, okay?
Yeah.
It was late. Obviously, I didn't have myself together. Look at me. I'm a wreck.
It's great. It's great. Okay, I'm gonna.
There's a whole story there that I'm not even gonna go into.
Just because I sense how it could be frustrating to. I'm gonna just kind of rush through a few other ones that I included and kind of tell you why I did. So, the trashiest show we've ever watched together, my wife and I've ever watched together, Too Hot to Handle on Netflix, where people basically got together at this resort and you got penalized for having sex, and it was all these hot people who wanted to have sex with each other.
Okay.
And Francesca from that show, who is just a very distinct personality. That I knew Jessie would immediately. It was like when you see Francesca give a happy birthday message to Jessie, what it communicates to Jessie is like, oh, I remember we sat down and we watched this show together and just were kind of like horrified by the people on it. But hey, here's one of them wishing you happy birthday. So it's a sort of a point of connection. Okay, so I did a whole episode of Ear Biscuits where I talked about our obsession with 90 Day Fiancé, how Jessie and I just watched this thing and just couldn't get enough of it. Well, and I told you about this guy, David, who I think is from Las Vegas, and he was the one that had this, what seemed to be an absolute delusion about this woman in Russia that he was chatting with, not even video chatting with, just text chatting with for years. And he would go to Russia multiple times, and every time he went to Russia, she would come up with an excuse why she couldn't meet him. And of course, everyone watching knew the excuse was because she doesn't exist. However, the biggest spoiler alert, if you're gonna watch that season with David of 90 Day Fiancé, fast forward through this. But Lana did exist, and he, like the 7th time he went to Russia, he actually met her. So I had to include David in the compilation. Now, one thing I'll say about David is I don't know if this is because David hasn't gotten like a multitude of requests, or if he just really invests a lot of time into each one that he receives.
He seemed to have a lot of time on his hands.
He went for 10 minutes, and I did not include his full 10 minutes in the compilation. I took about a minute or two, and then we watched an extended cut later in the night. But he had a whole bit where he was blowing up balloons and talking a lot about his, about his experience with marriage and love and that kind of thing, which was very insightful. And then it was followed up by none other than Lana herself.
Oh
yes, she's also on Cameo, so you can do the David and Lana 1-2 punch. And she also, again, maybe for similar reasons, went for about 10 minutes.
She seemed to have a script.
She was reading a very long script.
She was reading a speech. It was like a political speech almost.
No, it was inspirational. It was very inspirational.
Yeah.
It's very inspirational. But catered towards Jessie.
And so you get the idea of the novelty of it. And you're like, okay, you get a kick out of this, but the thing that I didn't anticipate was that there's an extremely powerful overriding element here. And that's when they look at you and say your name and include details, falsified details about your life, growing up on a pig farm.
And by the way, I wanna say, I don't know if I personally violated the terms of service by giving false information, but clearly that can't be you can make a joke out of it if you want to.
But it doesn't, even though you know how ridiculous and novel this whole thing is and how fun it is, the humanity of the exercise trumps it all, and you find yourself like actually feeling something. Like, and not even the moments where people are being surprisingly real, but just the fact that they're talking to you, there's a magical engagement when somebody who you've watched on television says your name and starts talking to you. And there's a magic in Cameo that I never thought I would be describing.
Well, and I did include real details, my name, her name, our kids' names, our kids' ages, our height difference and stuff like that. That's true, how long we've been together, how we met, all that stuff I included. So they would talk about that as well, because I didn't want it just to be all fake. I just wanted some of the details to be fake. So then we kind of get into the section of the video where I start peppering in some people that are just there for my own personal enjoyment, but I know that she will get a kick out of it as well, because I could only find so many people who had been on shows that we watched together.
Yeah.
So again, I'm a child of the 80s and was in high school in the 90s, so I know who Kato Kaelin is. Kato Kaelin is the guy who was the first person on the scene after the OJ murder, who was in court and he had this hair and he was this typical like Californian dude.
Yeah.
Well, he's gone on to I don't know what, he's just continued to be Kato Kaelin, and he wrote a song for Jessie. He wrote a custom song that like rhymed my name with things and her name, and
it was bad.
It wasn't a great song, but it was
I think he knew it was bad and that was part of it.
Yeah, right. So I appreciated that. And then just because my wife is really, she is very into the news. Can I just say that? She's very into the news.
Okay.
And so people who have been in the news over the past few years for political reasons or otherwise, she's probably gonna be familiar with them. And whatever reason, Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's former personal lawyer, who is basically, no longer his lawyer, and now a very big vocal critic of the president.
What was he was sentenced to? Was he sentenced to anything?
I don't know if he's
at home in the video.
I don't
He's
know.
not in prison.
I don't know. I don't know if what his legal situation is at this time. But I will say he had one of the best and most encouraging speeches, and it was also very personal. And he was just talking about like how long he'd been married, and I'm not saying he didn't also tell this story to the next cameo he did, but like it was good. And Jessie was like, wow, that was sweet.
It was strange to see Michael Cohen. I mean, I remember the hearings, the Senate hearings where it's like he was testifying, and then all of a sudden he's talking to Jessie and he's like having the most down to earth, one-sided conversation.
That's the beauty of the service, man.
That's like,
this is not an ad for Cameo, by the way, just so you know. I mean, I would do one because I think that it's a there's no other service like it as far as I know, and it worked well for me, but this is just a honest testimonial.
You got this, I mean, the next guy I had heard was on Cameo and that he was like, a year ago when people started talking about it or whenever that was, Gilbert Gottfried's name came up.
Yeah.
And here you go, you got him.
Yeah, I mean, of course you got him. If Gilbert Gottfried is on there, you got to use him, right? I mean, he really went with the whole Jessie grew up on a pig farm thing. That was his whole angle. And he used it as kind of a way to question if I was trying to insult her. Because what I said was, in my information, I said, Jessie grew up on a pig farm and everyone makes fun of her for it. So he kind of leaned into that and said, I can't believe that your husband is calling you a pig. And then he was like, but if you are a pig, and he kind of.
Yeah, it was kind of like it was a scathing stand-up comic routine.
It was performance art. It was performance art.
It was like reverse heckling. But I actually thought he was calling your bluff that like, obviously you made this up. I thought that was part of it.
That he could have he probably knows that people do that.
I think he's he's been doing it the longest.
To know that people make stuff up.
You can tell that he's reading.
Yeah.
And he doesn't care, but then he riffs on things that make it really funny.
I'm not gonna play this one, but I will say that Stevie and Cassie had a very produced angle. What I mean is like they had a bit that they were doing that I think really turned out.
Yeah, that was good.
That was one of the high points in the video, so thank you to Stevie and Cassie.
I didn't know who these women were.
Then there's some twins. You might remember the twins. I actually don't remember their names, but they were from 90 Day Fiancé as well. They're like the twins from Connecticut who I think they're getting their own show. They're getting their own reality show because they say that in this cameo. So again, this is working. They're getting, the twins from Connecticut are getting their own reality show.
I didn't like them. They didn't really connect with me.
It felt a little canned just because they talked about how much they loved Jessie.
It felt like an Instagram story.
They don't know Jessie. How do they know that they love her? Another guy, Ash, who was from 90 Day Fiancé, who's in Australia, who is a relationship coach who seemed to only coach women, which was an interesting thing about him. And then we had, of course, everybody's favorite TV show host, aside from Chris Harrison and Jeff Probst, Mark Summers, host of Double Dare. And here's the thing about Mark Summers that was really funny.
Yeah.
Again, for the reasons that you talked about, because these things go out to people.
He had a whole preamble.
His preamble was, I'm Mark Summers. You may remember me from Double Dare. I also did some time with, and then he talks about the show he did on the Food Network, and then he talks about the fact that he's an executive producer on like Guys Grocery Games. Like he basically puts all anything that he would talk about at the end of like a PR spot, he puts at the top of his Cameo, which is smart.
Yeah.
He really he really grasped hold of the mountain climbing and talked about how she must be in incredible shape if she's doing all this mountain climbing. And I think he ended with saying something like, good luck with those peaks.
Yeah, I kind of started to feel for these people who were like regurgitating your lies.
Yeah, I felt bad about that as well, but it was also worth the laughs. Now,
and then we come to it.
This is, okay, first of all, if there are any children listening to this particular episode of Ear Biscuits and you're not comfortable with explicit talk of sexual acts, you should probably have them leave, because we're gonna talk about, this one I just did for myself, and for the juggalos out there, Violent J of the Insane Clown Posse, and I was like, I gotta use this guy. And he went for also 10 minutes. Now, approximately.
Just Insane Clown Posse.
Yeah.
I had an idea, you know, of who, I mean, they're like, they wear this, they dress up like these like insane looking clowns, and I didn't understand the type of music. Even though I had watched like the documentary, that the Gathering of the Juggalos, you like got all these people who are like camp out, and it's this whole community around it. It was super fascinating and super specific. But it's like this, they're not metal. I get them confused with
Slipknot.
Slipknot.
They're nothing like Slipknot.
Slipknot is like scary Marilyn Manson,
and there's also
grotesque
like 9
shock,
members of Slipknot.
Shock rock.
And Insane Clown Posse is basically just the 2 dudes.
And they do like 90s, bad 90s rap.
Yeah, sort of like a little bit like House of Pain sounding, but not as good.
Not as good. I don't know enough to know like what really connects people to them in the community, so I'm not gonna, but that's just like, if you listen to one song, you're like, what is going on here?
Now, Violent J took a very specific angle in his video.
He was in full clown face.
Full clown face. So he gets into character, and the character is, insane. Let's just be honest. I mean, that's the whole point, right? So I did not include the most explicit parts in the main video because I didn't want to distract from all the good loving that she was getting from people, right?
Yeah.
You know, the as you said, the glad tidings and cheer or whatever you said. So I basically I kept the beginning of his video where he just talked about me and he talked about her and wishing her happy birthday and how old he was and stuff like that. He had a whole bit about how old he was. It was nice, but again, after the fact, we listened to his entire thing. And that was where at some point, again, I think most of this was just off the cuff. At some point, Violent J decided that he was going to talk about his attraction to my wife. Now, I don't even have any reason to believe that he's seen a picture of her, but I just think his angle was, I'm going to turn this into me hitting on the wife of I know the husband made this video for her, but now I'm gonna talk about what I'm going to do with his wife. And the thing that really stuck with you and Christy and Jessie and me as we watched this later that night was the fact that he said he was going to do 69 times with my wife.
Yeah, it's very catchy.
And boy, that's a lot.
I want to 69 you 69 times.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I think it's what he said.
Yeah, and he said other.
I was like, fascinating.
He said other things, but that was really sort of the peak, and that kind of captures the essence of what he was getting at. He also did some freestyling.
Yeah, it was like this off the top of the head kind of scatting, but he did it. It was like a character trait where he would like kind of get manic and start.
Yeah,
like a word association, like mouth vomit.
Yeah,
of rhyming words. That was a bit scary.
No, I gotta say I didn't feel.
I loved it.
I didn't feel threatened. My wife tells me that I'm the I'm very secure in our relationship because
meanwhile, he's making a flip book of side-by-side pictures of him and you.
Well, here's the thing. You know, sometimes Jessie will like come back from someplace in public and she'll tell a story about like some dude that said something to her, right? And I know that some guys have a response, which is like, where is he? I'm gonna go back there and ask him what he's doing. But I typically am just like, good for you.
You can't even count to 69.
I'm like, it's awesome to have somebody, you know, hit on you in that way. It just reminds you that you still got it. So when Violent J told my wife that he wanted to do 69 times, and let me just say, there was a couple of times during that night as we kept repeating it that sometimes people would say 69 ways, but I'm pretty sure he says 69 times. Because I think 69 is kind of just, that is the way. That is the way.
To quote the Mandalorian.
I mean, I'm sure you can do it other ways, but typically it is describing an action and an act.
This is the way.
And he just wants to do it 69 times. And I was like, listen, Jessie, if things ever get difficult, if things get dark, if you begin to doubt that you still got it, just remember that Violent J told you that he wanted to 69 times. And I don't know what 69 times 69 is. I don't do that kind of math, but it's a lot.
Squared.
It's a lot.
Matter of fact, she doesn't have to remember it. She can just pull up the video and watch it again.
We haven't watched it since though. Well, I mean, maybe she's watched it on her own.
I think it should be a monthly thing. I think this on the 69th day of the year, you should watch it 69 times.
Okay, that's gonna take a while because like I said, he fully commits. If you're, again,
So
this is a
like
little
March.
bit, this is informative for anybody who might be thinking about doing a cameo. Violent J is gonna go all the way and he's gonna give you, he's gonna go all the way. He's gonna, literally, he's gonna give it.
I actually have never considered 69 going all the way.
Okay, well, I think it might be going past all the way. Might be coming all the way back around.
Full circle.
Yeah. Jaleel White, I got him to do it.
Did I do that?
He was so.
Did you do that?
Oh, he brought up another fact that I added, which was.
He was on a golf course.
I said in my false information that Jessie had the largest insect collection west of the Mississippi River, implying that there was a bigger one east of the Mississippi River. He really went with that and actually told a personal story about the time they had a bug collector character on Family Matters and how she was really attractive and made him nervous. But that after that episode, he would get comments about bug collecting. Urkel, was into bug collecting because of this girl. Just little thing that we could have never known. We would have never known this if I had told him the truth. He was also very inspirational about, like, this day is the first day of the rest of your life. I don't know if he said that specifically.
Yeah.
It was that kind of inspirational talk.
Everybody had their approach.
Yeah.
And some people's approach was, I'm gonna go into, I need to be a motivational speaker. I need to say something positive to help these people out. But they have no credentials or no business doing that. Kind of reminds me of this podcast. But it was kind of like a ray of light that these people who find themselves being listened to are like, you know what? I'm going to say something encouraging. It's gonna be hollow and it's gonna be based on like something that I've read a second ago or that I'm currently reading just beside the camera. But still, you gotta give them an A+ for effort.
It still means things.
There wasn't anybody who was like, they weren't really trying.
Yeah.
Was there? Was there anybody who you wouldn't get again?
Well, this one, the one I'm about to show you.
Oh yeah.
He was also I think the cheapest one. The fly on Mike Pence's head. If you remember the vice presidential debate when a fly landed on Mike Pence's head. Well, I think this guy was really trying to ride that wave, which that wave has crashed at this point, but
15 minutes of fame.
He has a mask, he has a fly mask on and a fly suit on.
Altered voice.
And an altered fly voice. And he says quite a few jokes. But you know what? It was worth a little bit of a laugh. And actually, that was the last one. That was the last one. I edited this thing last minute, and so I ended with the fly. I probably should have put him in earlier. But actually, he wasn't the last thing. Like one of her close college friends that I knew would be a big surprise that I was able to get her to do it.
Oh yeah.
Because they haven't really talked in a while.
Uh-huh.
That was the one I closed with. Anyway, Jessie was let me just say the effect of this video. Now I know we spent all the time talking about the celebrities. She really, really appreciated it.
It was
And
great.
then she asked me, did my therapist tell you that I wanted a birthday video like this? And I was like, no. And I was like, because I told him that I was hoping that Rhett was doing this for me. I hope that he was making a video because I couldn't have a party. And I didn't know that. I just was like, this is the next thing besides a party to show like collective appreciation.
And you're not one for getting her gifts that she actually wants. You're not known for that.
Well,
matter of fact,
I don't think that's my problem as much as it's her problem. I think she has a very high standard. That's all I'll say. I have whiffed on some gifts for sure. I've gotten better in the past couple of years, but there's the most pressure on this one because it was this milestone birthday.
Yeah.
She wasn't able to do the thing, but it really, and I was nervous, right? Because I had done the Jason Momoa thing. I had done this video. I also got her a bunch of other like gifts, and also the trip out of town with you guys was a surprise. She didn't know that was going to happen until the day before. So
have you paid me for that?
I keep forgetting to do that.
So far, it's my gift.
Yeah. We went through your Airbnb account. I need to do that right as soon as this is over.
Well, we could pause. You could just do it right now.
So anyway, this really worked.
Success, man.
It really worked. And
Can't do it again though. You know, but she only turned 40 once.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when she turns 50.
But you can 69
times. I can probably get there before 50 too. Yeah. So this kind of turned into, like I said, it kind of turned into an ad for Cameo, which it's not. But I will make that my rec. You know, I might as well, just because I'm sure that there's another service, or there should be. Somebody should be getting on this. But Cameo kind of got into this kind of early in the game, and what seems like this, like you're like, oh, so again, when you think about the inner workings of it, and somebody's just sitting down doing a bunch of videos, it may seem kind of empty.
Yeah.
But when that person watches the video that you've made for them, especially if they don't understand Cameo as a service. They're like, I can't believe you got this for me. I can't believe you did this. It's like so effective, so effective.
I mean, everyone is beginning to understand, but it's still a pretty great thing.
I mean, first of all, people do things like get a star named after you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
it's better than that.
There's a lot of things that you can do, like, oh, I got you, like an acre on the moon or a square foot on the moon or something like that. That doesn't mean anything, but you can, like, were they gonna go up there?
I think you did that for me once, actually.
I think I've done both of those things for you as jokes.
Yeah.
But it's a tangible thing that it results in this video that, like I said, you could put on your social media or whatever and be like, look what Violent J said about me. Now Jessie hasn't posted that one. But she is free to post any of these on her social media.
Yes, she is.
Because it's not a commercial thing.
So to wrap things up, wishing Jessie a happy belated 40th birthday and inviting you to give a rec, baby 1, 2, 3, 4.
That was my rec.
Cameo?
That's what I just said. I'm just making rec, my Cameo my rec.
I didn't believe that.
I had another rec, but
okay.
It's hard to come up with
work.
recs, so I'm just gonna save that for next time. I mean,
Okay.
my rec is, now you know about Cameo. If you didn't know about it, you know how it works, and you know that I use it successfully, so that's my rec. Not a sponsor, though maybe they should be paying us.
For real. We'll talk at you next week. #Ear Biscuits. Let us know what you think about all this. Have you had a Cameo experience? I want to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
To watch more Ear Biscuits, click on the playlist on the right.
To watch the previous episode of Ear Biscuits, click on the playlist to the left.
And don't forget to click on the circular icon to subscribe.
If you prefer to listen to this podcast, it's available on all your favorite podcast platforms. Thanks for being your mythical best.